Hello students. Once again we are online because of corona. Hope this pandemic sets us free as soon as possible. Talking about these online classes, ensure that you watch all the classes carefully and do all the assignments and submit them to your teachers in time. After watching this video, you must read the chapter in your textbook and answer the questions given under the heading Comprehension Check. Then send your notes to my personal number. Simply sending a message to the group between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. will not make you eligible to get attendance. Attendance will be given only when you submit your assignments to the respective teachers. Today, we are going to deal with the first chapter of your English textbook, First Flight. The chapter is A Letter to God by Gregorio Lopez Fuentes or G.L. Fuentes. Talking about the writer, G.L. Fuentes, he was a Mexican novelist, poet and journalist. He was born on 17th November 1895. He died on 10th December 1966. He was awarded the National Prize of Arts and Science in 1935. And this story, A Letter to God by G.L. Fuentes, revolves around the idea of having unquestionable belief in something. Here in this chapter, in God. The story is set in a Latin American country. Lencho, the farmer, who is the protagonist of the story, writes a letter to God seeking help from the Almighty after discovering his entire crop yield destroyed by a devastating hailstorm. Although his wishes get fulfilled partially, if not completely, he is disappointed and ungrateful in the end and questions the honesty and modesty of the postmaster and his office mates who actually helped him with money in the name of God. Now let us learn the chapter in detail. A Letter to God by G.L. Fuentes. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height one could see the river and the field of ripe corn, dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Lencho, the main character of the story, or the protagonist of the story, lived with his family on the only house that was there on the top of a small hill. From there, a river and a ready-to-harvest cornfield was visible. The field belonged to Lencho, and he had the utmost confidence that the harvest would reap great profits. The only thing that he waited was a rainfall. In this hope, he spent an entire morning looking at the sky in the northeastern direction. From there, a drizzle was expected to shower on his fields. So the expectations of rain of a farmer is seen in the first part of the chapter. Now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, "Yes, God willing." The older boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, "Come for dinner." It was during the meal that, just as Lencho predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of cloud could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. The man Lencho, while looking at the sky, confidently tells that they are going to have a rain that day. And then his wife replied, "Only if God wishes, only if everything happens as they hoped and expected." Their elder children were working in the field because they were helping their father. And the younger ones, they were playing. They did not know what was happening, if there is going to be a rain or if the rain is going to help them in getting a good harvest. These all are not known to them. Without knowing everything of this sort, they were playing near the house. And then Lencho's wife, their mother, called them all for dinner. Then they stopped working and then they stopped playing. They all came for dinner. and all the family members gathered around the dining table and they were about to have dinner. And while everyone was about to have food, small drops of rain began to fall on the rooftop, and proving that Lencho's prediction in the daytime, it was true. The wind was pleasant and clouds could be seen approaching from the northeast sky. Lencho goes out of his house to take pleasure in feeling the droplets on his body because he was badly in need of such a shower. He refers to the drizzle as coins, large droplets of the rain being equivalent to 10 cents and the smaller ones 5 cents, which was symbolizing money. He says this because these droplets or these raindrops would ensure a good harvest, a good crop, which would eventually get them a lot of money. And he was extremely delighted to have that shower in that evening. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers, draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. On seeing everything go as expected, Lencho reflected or thought upon the field and the flowers covered with droplets which seemed as if they were wrapped or covered in a curtain. Unexpectedly, a strong wind started blowing, leading to a hailstorm, which looked like new silver coins. The hailstorms were compared to be silver coins because they were not going to be good for the crop. They were going to destroy the crops. So what he expected is gold coins and he may get silver coins. That means the opposite effect will be there. The innocent boys, his children, the sons of Lencho, they did not know anything about the dangers of the hailstorm. And they became playful and went out in the rain to play and collect the hailstones which looked like frozen pearls. Because they looked very beautiful, but the beauty that they have will not be reflected in the field. The field will be completely destroyed. So everything happened according to his wish, but in the end everything put upside down. Now everything that he has got in the field, the cornfield, it's going to be completely destroyed with this hailstorm. And he was much worried. "It's really getting bad now," exclaimed the man. "I hope it passes quickly." It did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Lencho, the farmer, started worrying on finding the hailstorms raining heavily on his field. And he hopes the storm gets over quickly. But to his utmost disappointment, it didn't stop for an hour. Continuously for 1 hour, it hailed. Hail was there everywhere on his field. The hailstones covered the entire valley, including his house, garden, hillside, and the cornfield. It made everything look so white that it seemed as if it were covered with salt. When the field is covered with salt, it's completely white in color, but when the field is covered with salt, it becomes unusable for cultivation. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn." That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. Lencho became stressed and disappointed as everything went against his plans. The trees had shed their leaves, corns were smashed, and the flowers had also fallen from their plants. While standing in the destroyed field, he conveyed his disappointment and his sorrow to his sons by commenting that the effect of the storm proved to be worse than that of crop destroying insects, locusts, because they would have left something. Here, this hail has left nothing for the farmer and his family. All their hard work had gone in vain, useless. Now, all the work that they did all through that year, it is gone completely. Nothing is left in the field. He felt helpless as no corn had been left and feared that they might have to starve that year because nothing is left in the field. The entire family is at the verge of starvation because no one is there to help them except God. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. Don't be so upset. Even though this seems like total loss, remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. Even after everything had gone wrong, everything had gone away from his expectation, just opposite to his expectation, every hope of the family had crushed in the hailstorm. The family still had hope in their hearts. They had strong faith in the Almighty even after nothing was left. Each and everything that they had in the field, it is gone. Still, there is a small ray of hope in the heart of every one of the family, especially in the heart of the man, Lenjo, the farmer. They gave each other support and recalled a saying which assures that no one ever dies of starvation. There is one or the other way that they can find in every distressful situation. When everything is gone, when everything is destroyed, there is a small ray of hope in their mind, and that told them that no one is going to die of starvation. They will survive. They will survive this situation. That ray of hope was there in the mind of Lenjo and his family. All through the night, Lenjo thought only of his one hope: the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. Lenjo was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. The following Sunday, at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. See, here in this part of the chapter, we can see what is real faith. The man, Lenjo, was completely disappointed, dissatisfied, unhappy, sad, sorrowful because he lost everything. His entire hard work has been gone. Now there is nothing left with him. He will be in complete starvation for the coming year because nothing is there in his field. But still, he had that faith in God. So Lenjo spent his entire night thinking of the only option left with him. What is that option? To seek help from God. He strongly believed that God would help him. He had been told that God has his eyes on everywhere. He even believed that God could read what is there in the conscience, the inner mind, inner self of a man. He knew that God can read that even. So he strongly believed that God sees everything. And so he thought of writing a letter to God, conveying his grievances or complaints or the worries or the troubles that he is facing now. Pointing all these, he thought of writing a letter to God. Despite spending all these years working at the farm, Lenjo still knew how to write. He started writing on the Sunday morning and thought of mailing it himself by going to the town. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes because the hailstorm. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still troubled, went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. In his letter to God, Lenjo communicated his poverty-stricken situation. Everything that happened for him and his family and the field, everything he detailed in that letter and mentioned that he needed 100 pesos to regenerate the crops, along with surviving until they were ready to harvest in the next season. That means he needed 100 pesos to cultivate that crops again, and until these crops grew, he needed to support his family. For that he needed money. For that also he needed money. So for all together he needed 100 pesos that he demanded to God. On the envelope he wrote as address to God. Then at the post office placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it in the mailbox, believing or expecting that the letter would reach to God. God is somewhere waiting for his letter. He believed that. Believing that, he dropped the letter. But it's something that is unimaginable. How come a person write a letter to God? And how come he can believe that God will read that letter and God will solve all the problems of Lenjo? But still, he believed that that would happen. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out laughing. But almost immediately he turned serious and, tapping the letter on his desk, commented, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." Starting up a correspondence with God. While collecting all the letters from that post box, one of the employees, a postman, who is also working as a helper in the post office, he noticed Lencho's letter and showed it to his boss. Because there is something special about that letter. What is the speciality of the letter? Because never ever in his life he had not heard of such an address of God. Nobody knows the address of God. And that's why it amused him. And he was laughing heartily. Wholeheartedly he was laughing. He was amused that much. And that's why he took that letter to his boss, the postmaster. They both felt equally amused. Because it's a foolish deed of a person to write a letter to God. Of course, we used to pray. That's too in solitude. Quite alone, we pray to God, "Oh God, do these, all those," we say. But here, a man writes a letter to God. So that was something interesting, something amusing. That's why both these people, the postmaster as well as the postman, they started laughing. But suddenly, the postmaster stopped laughing. That fat and friendly or amiable man immediately developed a sense of seriousness. He was amazed at the amount of faith Lenjo has in God and wished he had the same faith in God as Lenjo has, because such a faith will never be there in a man. To believe God that God will read the letter and God will help him in his critical situation. Such a belief is incredible, unbelievable. So, in order to not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. On reading that address on the envelope, the postmaster was totally surprised. So he was curious to know what was written there in the letter. It is not right for a postmaster to read the letter because it is addressed to another person. But still, here it is addressed to God. And the address of God is not known. So he thought that he has to open the letter. He was really curious to know what was written there inside the letter. Out of curiosity, the postmaster opened the letter. The postmaster thought that he should reply that letter, because such faith in God should not be broken, should not be shaken. He should maintain that belief or faith in God. That's why he thought he will reply the letter. In order to reply, the postmaster needed something more. Just goodwill or morals or pen and paper and ink will not be sufficient. He needed something more. He needed money also, because Lenjo had demanded 100 pesos. Still, he did not change his mind. He thought that he will reply. He realized that keeping Lencho's faith in God was not that easy. That was going to be a little more expensive. It cost 100 pesos. He, along with his colleagues and a few friends, who were ready to help him for a cause of charity. They all donated money for that good cause and they collected money to help Lencho. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature, God. Despite the efforts of the postmaster, he could not collect the entire money that was demanded by Lencho. He could collect a little more than half of the money that was required for Lencho. Still, he thought that much money, how much he could collect, that much he thought of sending. At least that will be giving him a sort of help. Thinking this, he decided to send this money to Lencho. And then he wrote the address of Lencho on the envelope. Then he put that money in that envelope and a small piece of paper he wrote God. Only one single word was written in that letter. It was just as if it were signed by God. It was given God. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence, but he became angry when he counted the money. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had requested. Next Sunday, Lencho came looking for the reply a bit earlier than expected because he was sure that he was going to get a reply from God. The postman was very pleased to give the letter to Lencho from God, and that's why he himself handed the letter to Lencho, waiting to see him become joyful and surprised. While the postmaster, feeling satisfied for doing a great job for a poor man, he oversaw all this from his office. He was watching him closely. What was the expression on the face of Lencho? But for Lencho, he was not at all surprised to get a reply from God because his faith in God was that firm. The postmaster and all the other members of the post office were waiting to see Lencho's happiness and the expression of that happiness they want to see on his face. But the farmer was disheartened on seeing that the money was less than what he asked for. He knew that God could not have made such a mistake because God will never make mistake in counting. The money that he had asked for was 100 pesos and in the envelope that much money was not there. And that's why he got irritated because God will never make such a mistake. If God had replied his letter, if God had sent him money, there is no chance that God can send money less than what he demanded. God will definitely send 100 pesos completely. That's what he believed. That's why he got irritated. He was angry and he was disheartened on counting the money. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write, with much wrinkling of his brow caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lencho. Out of his complete disappointment, Lencho started looking around to find a piece of paper and ink to write a letter to God again. While writing, his eyebrows got curled out of the concentration with which he was drafting a new request. He was that much irritated. On completing his letter, he affixed it with a stamp. The way he affixed that stamp on that envelope was something very forceful, like as if he were that much irritated. He fixed that stamp on that envelope and he dropped that into the mailbox. As soon as Lencho dropped the letter into the mailbox. The postmaster took it out to read it. Lenjo complained that he had received only 70 pesos and he is really in need of the remaining amount, and he demanded God to send that money again. He doubted the integrity and honesty of the post office employees and suggested God that the money should not be sent via post office because he believed that those people are a bunch of crooks. They are crooked people and they took his money. A small part of the money was taken by them. That's why he didn't trust them. He asked God to send the money directly to him, not to the post office employees, because he believed that those people are not trustworthy. That's all the chapter. Now read the chapter and answer all the questions given under the heading Comprehension Check in your textbook. Not only that, during the course of this lesson, I gave some words and their meanings here. Note down the words and their meanings into your notebook and send them also into my personal number. Thank you for watching.